Miss Stacy, and I'm going to be showing you some ideas and inspiration of things you can do for MerMay. So MerMay is a challenge that a lot of artists on social media do throughout the month of May. Every day there is a prompt that you can try to draw, so it'll have some ideas for each day of the month. And you basically take a picture or you scan your art and post it online, and you do the hashtag MerMay, and the library has its own set of prompts that you can try to follow, or you can try to follow the official ones, which is at mermay.com, and tag us if you draw anything so we can see what you've come up with. Now for this, I'm just going to be using colored pencils. So whatever colored pencils you happen to have at home, but you can use markers or crayons or anything you want. There's no specific thing you need to use for this challenge. You also don't have to do a drawing every single day. We know that you already have probably a lot of work to do, so we're not going to make this difficult. It's just when you can, post a drawing, and we will feature or give you a shout out at the beginning of June for anything that you've created. So I made a board on Pinterest that has a whole bunch of different ideas that you could use in your artwork. So if there's things that I liked or thought I would like to use, I put them on here. They have different ideas for corals and plants that are under the sea. They have creatures from under the sea. There's seashells if you ever wanted to see realistic images of how they look, so you could draw them. You know, I'm not really against copying things as long as you give credit, or if you're just practicing. Artists usually call this a study when you practice drawing other works or photos and things. You just can't claim credit for them that you made them yourself. Especially on social media, they really don't like that. So it's good for yourself for practice, but you want to make your own art when you're posting it online, especially if you're going to say, hey, I did this myself. Make sure you don't copy anything exactly the way it is. So they have some ideas for scales. They have all these like fashion pieces on here. There's real pictures of fish that you could save if you like some of the patterns of certain fish. You know, people like to make mermaids that look like koi fish or goldfish or dolphins or other creatures of the sea. So it doesn't have to be the typical mermaid look. There's like a crown that looks pretty cool. So look around. Again, you don't have to use Pinterest. You can just go on Google if you want to pull some pictures off of there and put them together. You can use Google Keep, which is a pretty cool app. If you have a Google Gmail account or Google Drive account, which I know a lot of you do, you can use Google Keep to pin images to a certain note card as well. So take a look around. It's good to take your time and have fun with this, and give yourself a plan of what you want to do before you do it. Now I'm going to be showing you how to draw kind of a typical mermaid, but I would like to see other things and your own interpretation and style of the prompts that are going to be in the challenge. So yeah, so let's get started on the actual drawing. So again, for this, I had drawn some of those images I showed you on Pinterest. I just doodled them for practice. And we might use some of these ideas when we are actually drawing our picture. But it's good to keep a little, if you have a little sketchbook of some kind, you can put all these little doodles in that, or just keep it together in a pack of papers if you have copy paper or something at home. So for this, let me just put this right in the center here. Okay. I'm going to be showing you how to draw a mermaid the way I do it. Again, this is open to interpretation, but this is made kind of more simple for beginners. So let's see what we can come up with here. Now in my previous video, I showed you how to draw an anime character, so we're going to be using some of the techniques that were in that to start this drawing. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use, I actually found out the word for this, it's called armature. So armature, if I'm saying that right, I hope I am, is the foundation of your drawing. It kind of makes guidelines for you to follow so that you can kind of plan out your drawing before you make it. So with this, what I do is I start off by drawing a circle. I don't know if you can see that. I hope you can see this. I'm gonna make it darker than I normally would. I'm using a mechanical pencil. I love mechanical pencils because you don't have to sharpen them, but you can use any pencil that you happen to have at home. And then what I do is I make my little U. So it's kind of like it's not a perfect curve U. I start from the sides here of the circle and kind of come off the sides here, and then that's how I know where to put my U shape. And that's how I basically make the chin and the top part of the head. And then you can cut this in half with a line. Okay, and this circle up here can be cut in half. It's like a third up from the bottom. That will give you the guidelines for the face. And then I break the body into shapes. So whenever I draw a picture, I like to break down what I'm drawing into simple shapes, so that I don't get too focused on one specific part of it, and then I can kind of adapt it later to, you know, if I need to erase or make adjustments, but I start with very simple shapes. So with the ears, I'm gonna just start where this line meets the side of the face here. So it's about halfway down your face is your ears. And again, like if you're drawing like a monster kind of mermaid, like you don't have to follow anatomy rules. You can kind of do this, you can kind of expand on it and manipulate anatomy so that it kind of works for you. So with the neck, you can make this as thin or as wide as you want. I'm just doing a standard neck size here. So when you do the collarbone and the shoulders, I just kind of go down on a little tilt. If you were to draw, say, an oval, a skinny oval, it's basically the same shape. So you do oval here, and then your shoulders have circles here, right? And then your arms are kind of like tubes. Like, picture this almost like a toilet paper roll, and then it just gets wider towards the elbow and gets wider as it goes up your arm. So I make the shape like that. And we're gonna do one here. And I tend to make them go out away from the body. So just pull those arms out. And I even do the end of the tube here, so, and really it would be circles because you're representing a 3D object. So this looks like the end of a toilet paper roll. Yeah, toilet paper mermaid. Your elbows basically come to the middle of your waist, and then your arms go outward from there. So I like to kind of make this. Now the tricky part are hands. A lot of people struggle with drawing hands. So what I do is I try to make them look like mittens. So like a mitt where your thumb is a shape all by itself. Then you have the base of the mitten, and then you have this kind of looks like the tip of a mitten. So when I do it, I just draw like the bottom of a mitten and add the thumb in. I'll actually leave it just as it is. So if you draw a mitten at the end here, right, that's a lot easier than worrying about all the fingers right away. We'll draw those in afterwards. And then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna draw the body. So just making sure we can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so with the body, if you've ever seen, if you have action figures or Barbie dolls or anything at home, you can look at those because you will see how the torso and the waist go together. What I do basically is I just have it come inward like this, and you can make this as wide or as narrow as you want. So it's like this shape, right? If you look at one of your action figures or Barbie dolls, you can kind of use those as like a mannequin. If you don't, you can Google a mannequin if you want, and you'll see what I'm talking about for the torso. So this is the waistline here, and you'll see it's where the elbows kind of meet, except the elbows will be a little bit higher because the arms are pushed out, so they swing up like this. And then for the bottom part of the body, we just come back out a little. We do the opposite of what we did up here. So it's almost like a reflection. Okay. And then with a fishy kind of tail, mermaid body, you just kind of come out, back in. And then I want to have the tail in the picture, and I obviously have the edge of the page here, so I'm just going to turn it a little bit so I can get the fins in. So the fins are like these teardrop shapes, the way I'm drawing them, but you've seen on the Pinterest board, there's a ton of different ways you can draw fins. They can be jagged, they can be very flowy like fabric. I'm just doing a simple kind of teardrop shape here. And what I'm going to do is on the edges of the body, I'm going to kind of make these little ripples. So these are like extra fins here on the side. And then fins have kind of like these little ridges in them. So I'm going to put in lines for those. I'm going to do that down here too. And then we'll kind of go back to the fingers here. So what I do with the fingers is I just kind of draw in the index finger, because that's the easiest shape to recognize, is the thumb and index finger. And then your fingers just kind of go up a little larger and they shrink down again. This one's kind of off the page, so I'll just do the edge there. And then what I do with the face is this guideline's kind of off a little bit the way I did it, so I'm just going to erase it. The eyes should be halfway down your face, so they should be about here. And you can draw your eyes any way you want. The idea is just to keep them spaced apart correctly. So you want them the same distance from the ears on both sides, and you want them kind of equal in the center from each other too. Eyebrows. The nose goes right here on that middle line we made. And we'll do a little smile. And we're a happy mermaid. Okay. I do my little parentheses. I just do 1, 2 on both sides for eyes, and little dots in the middle. So for hair, with a mermaid, I usually make it very long and flowy. You can make your hair however you want, but just remember that hair all comes from pretty much one spot on your head, and that's about right here. So it flows out, and then we make it wavy. Or you can make the hair straight, or you can make it curly, however you want to do it. So I'm going to end it here so that it kind of goes off to the side a little bit. If I had a longer page, I would have it come down more, but I'm not going to do that. And just remember, under the water, hair can really, it kind of like puffs up, it floats. So it wouldn't be, if the mermaid was out of the water, it would probably be flatter. It wouldn't be as flowy. So we're gonna assume this one's under the water. Okay, now I'm gonna draw a little bit on the other page, so. Okay, so we have some flowy hair going on here. It's pretty crazy. All right. So mermaid clothes can kind of go any way you want. You can do the shells, you can do actual clothing. There's no reason why a mermaid wouldn't have some kind of fabric. Some people like to draw mermaids with no clothes on, whatever. I'm going to do the shell look, so kind of like Ariel's in The Little Mermaid. I'm just gonna make these little scallop looking thingies. If you looked at those shells that they have on Pinterest or on Google, you can kind of see how they kind of go together. Belly button's kind of right in the middle. It's up to you if you want to draw a belly button on a mermaid. I don't know, is she more fish? Is she more human? Who knows? After you're done, you can erase these little circles and extra lines that we put in the drawing. Clean it up a little bit. I'm gonna go back over my art and just tweak this a little bit. Okay, and now what I like to do on the body is I like to draw scales. So to draw a scale, it's not too difficult. I make these little U's, right? Like this. And you kind of stack them on top of each other. Now you don't have to do the whole body that way. You can just do a few scales here and there to be like, hey, she's got scales, but I'm not gonna like fill up this whole body with it. Although if you do it in ink, it looks pretty cool with the whole body filled in with scales. We're just gonna do little parts here and there. And then what you do is when you shade them later, they stack on top of each other. So they're gonna be a little brighter and shinier towards the ends and darker where they kind of meet with the other scales. You can do them all in one color. You can do what I did here, which is I made them different colors. But what I've been doing lately is I will just highlight the area where the scales are. So we'll make it, say her body's gonna be green, we're gonna make this bright yellow, so the scales kind of stand out a little bit. I'm gonna fix these eyes. I'm not too ecstatic about them, so make them a little cuter. Kind of like how I did the anime eyes. Just making sure you can see this. Okay. Fix your chin a little. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give her a little crown. And that was one of those shapes that I practiced drawing earlier. But I mean, you can draw a crown however you want. There's no specific way. You can draw it like an arc like this and make it like a tiara with different designs on it. I'm just doing like a regular crown. And then what you can do is in the hair, you can put little seashells, and I usually represent this by just making little squiggles, and then I'll flesh it out later. I might do a little sea star in the hair, and maybe one on this side. Hope you can see that okay. Again, those were just symbols we took from those pictures that I found on the internet. At the bottom, I'm gonna make those seaweed shapes like this. So seaweed is kind of flowy. If you've ever seen seaweed, it's kind of flat looking, so it kind of flips and twists when it's in the air. I mean the water, sorry, not the air, obviously. And it crosses each other. Kind of gets all twisted, so I'm gonna twist this a little bit, make the ends a little more pointy. There we go. Okay, and then of course I think she needs a friend, so I'm gonna make a cat mermaid. So draw the cat head here, and the eyes, and a little triangle nose, and then the little cat face. And we'll have those little 2B arms, but with a cat they don't have, like, you can make it kind of flatter. Doesn't have to be as bendy, the arms. And then a little cat mermaid tail. Get rid of the hair so it's not in the way. And then with the cat, scales can be a little bit higher up on its body. You can make this more cat or more fish, whatever you want to do. Or pick a different creature. Actually, looks kind of like a seal mermaid thing. I don't know. I'm not an expert at making cat mermaids, so but I do want a little tail there, not a big tail. And maybe I'll do the toe beans here. And little triangles inside the ears. Okay. And I'm gonna make some bubbles. I don't mind this. This was the example I made before. And maybe I'll make some lines in the background for the ocean. So little wavy lines. I might want different colors in the background of water. So maybe a dark green, a dark blue. And because if you're putting your mermaid in a water setting and you're using blues and greens, try not to make the background the same color as the hair, because then it will kind of blend and it won't look right. So yeah, so I'm gonna show you what I got with colored pencils. Okay, so I have colored pencils. Some of my colors that I like to use oranges and yellows together. I think they look very nice, like fiery colors. And then I have kind of different shades of green and blue. I mean, you can use whatever you have at hand. Pink and yellow goes really well together when you overlap, and so does yellow with greens and teals. You can make some cool effects with those. I have a silver pencil too. I'm not sure if I'll use it, but I have one. And I have a few other colors with me. I also have these. So these are Q-tips. You can use them to blend colored pencil. It works pretty well. You can also, if you're a little more daring, you can dip it in a little rubbing alcohol afterwards, and it will kind of make, not quite like watercolor, but it will blend it better than if you just use the regular Q-tip. Okay, so I'm gonna color this in, and I'll speed up this video a little bit, and you can see how I put this together. But yeah, a few things I just wanted to point out is you can use your finger also to blend if you don't want to waste Q-tips. So sometimes I'll just go like this. Just be aware that if you blend in different spots, like if I go from a dark spot to a light spot with that finger, I'll smudge it, which I kind of did a little bit. And yeah, just remember that we have free ebooks and things through our databases. You can find it on our website. We have Libby and we have Hoopla, among other things as well. So make sure you take advantage of that if you need to find some books on how to create art. There's tons of them on there. And yeah, so just remember to draw, to do some art, and tag the library at Sachem Library, hashtag MerMay, if you would like to participate in this. And I will be around if you need answers to any of the questions you might have. If you just message the library, I will be happy to help you. So yeah, enjoy, have fun, stay healthy.